Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today's video we're going to focus on the Houston Regional that was going on today. I went today and I'm just going to show you guys kind of the loot I got and kind of tell you how it was going. And then after that we'll do a quick recap on what I tried for Nexus Night this week and what I'm planning on doing in the coming week. So let's go ahead and hop into it. First things first, I picked up this playmat. I wasn't sure if I was going to get a playmat, but the merch store, when you get your badge, you get a 10% off purchase. So I figured I'd pick up this. I got that. And where did my pin go? I have a pin here. This is the Houston Regional Qualifier pin for the event. So I'll put this somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'm not usually too big of a pin guy, but I figured because I live in Houston and we had this being the first event, I figured I would pick it up so I can represent my hometown here, and enjoyed grabbing this. It's pretty simple, but a pretty nice pin at the end of the day. The next thing that I got after the playmat and the pin was this, and I'll have to see how this pops up on this on the thing. It's awful big, but this is the Worlds 25 box. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what all came in that. It is a piece of merch they put out in China for the Chinese championships in, I guess, Beijing, Shanghai, and Chengdu. So it was a celebration of that first kind of series of big events there in China. So they put this out, and it's kind of got a good theming to it. So let's slide this out. And then we'll get this out of the way. But here is the box. Let me see if I can raise my camera up to get a better angle on it. Please ignore the mess on my desk. And so I've already opened this and I've already looked at what's inside or whatever. So I'll show you kind of the box and how it works. It's a neat box here. This comes up in a nice little display case. Came with a thank you card that was talking about all the different people who made the game and everything. It also came with, and this was in here, this Timo here. It's the leader, or the legend, I should say, for Timo, so Scout, and he is wearing a panda suit, which is pretty fun. This trolley guy is makes for a fun little promo card. If I get enough cards for this deck, I may try Timo at one of my Nexus nights at some point. But for now, he'll just kind of sit and wait for the time when I get inspired enough to run him. So there was that. And then there were these three here. These are, let me get them out, oversized cards here. They have three full art battlefields. We have the Bandle Tree, which, if I remember correctly, is the one where you get to hide an extra card here. Aspirants climb. I don't even remember what these all do. And unfortunately, they're textless, so I can't even quickly reference them or read them off. But we got these three oversized cards. I'll probably just hold on to these. I don't know if they're technically legal for play, but I'll probably just hold on to them for now. Kind of leave them in here. Without these sleeves on them, they fit much more comfortably in here. But this makes for a neat kind of little display piece here with the three battlefields and the Timo. And it's got this nice little display. I think I'll probably cut out the, or cut some fresh foam and decide on some other way to display things here. Maybe if I get some over numbers or something like that, I'll be able to put them here and make a little piece to add to my kind of trading card game area. But for now, that's pretty cool like that. All right, let's adjust here. The other thing that it came with was down here, we have this little tray that had some gear in it. First up, we had the small versions of the 3 battlefields. So these ones, I'm definitely hopeful are legal to play. They are the same as the large ones, same art and everything like that. They're just smaller, so they're the appropriate size for the thing. And then we also got, and let me try to maneuver around the space here. Let's slide those in there. They also came with a box of sleeves. So over here, I will go over this last because I used these sleeves for one of the events I did, and I'll show you guys the deck I built for that event when I get to this. But it also came here with this deck box, similar a lot to the One Piece box from the 2nd anniversary. It's got Worlds 25, Riftbound, it's got the names of the cities, and then it's got this nice embossing with the symbols and the name of the card game and everything on it. So I think that's pretty cool. I'll leave it in here for now. And then let me see if I can maneuver this out. All right, so this is the playmat. It's got the points markers along the side, which is really nice. I've been wanting to investigate getting a playmat with the numbers on the side, and this will fit the bill. It also has on the other side the same names and words that we had on the box and on the deck box. Then you've got all of your zones. So you have your champion or your legend, your champion, your deck, your trash. Over here you have your runes in your rune area. This is your base, and then this area is where your units go when they're in battlefields. So it's really nice having all these zones. The only thing that I am a little missing out on, and let's see if it's on the camera. Over here, it's hard to tell, but the playmat ends all the way over here. So there's a bit of space on the edge here that is going unused, and it would have been cool to have them stretched out just a smidge more, especially because the battlefield or the battleground area is pretty narrow. So it'd be kind of hard to kind of really fit your stuff in. So you'd have to kind of scoot your cards in a little bit to make it all fit. But otherwise, this is a really nice playmat. It's got the shiny, let's see if I can get it to catch on the camera. It's got the shiny foiling in the lines here, these gold lines, and nice little designs here. Overall, a pretty nice playmat. It is unfortunate that it's not a stitched edge. That's one of the things I really like to see in a premium kind of product. But otherwise, this is hitting all the marks. These the foiling does seem like it's probably pretty durable. I've seen some versions of the foiling where it just really looks like it's about to come off at any moment, but this one really looks good, and you can kind of feel the raised texture, which in a nice way, which is pretty nice. So that was the playmat. The final thing here is the sleeves. So let me get out some of the sleeves here, and then that will transition nicely into the deck that I did. But we have these sleeves here, kind of foily on the back, not quite as shiny as what you get here, but the same logo and a pretty nice thing. And I don't remember exactly how many of these you got, but it was a pretty nice number, enough for the events that I needed. In particular, the event that I did was a box sealed, which was something I haven't done before. I haven't done that big of a sealed pool before in any of the games I play, which was a lot of fun. I had to get signed up bright and early. Right as the signups went up, I was already in line at the venue, and they went up online. I got in luckily, and in my box that I pulled, this was the biggest hit here. I got the overnumbered Jinx. So this is what I ended up playing. I'm like, if I'm going to open this, especially because I had just bought the Jinx playmat, I figured if I'm gonna open this, then I'm definitely gonna play it. So I ended up playing a very aggressive deck. I pulled a Darius. The way sealed works is you pick 3 colors, and you get to, as long as all your cards match those 3 colors, a lot of the other restrictions are relaxed. So, for example, your leader has to match the colors, but your champion does not have to match the leader. And if you pulled any signature spells, you could run any signature spells that matched your colors, even if they didn't match your champion. So this is kind of the deck that I built out of my box. I'll go ahead through and sort this real quick. The 3 colors that I ended up picking was red, purple, and blue, because I got the Thousand-Tailed Watcher and the Dr. Mundo, so I felt that that was a pretty good angle to play. And then because it was sealed, you only had to build a deck of 25 cards, which was surprisingly small, to me at least. I would have expected it to be larger, but it was pretty small. I ended up going 2 and 2. My first round opponent was a Set, who was running Shen as his chosen champion. And as you can kind of see as I'm laying out these cards, I ran a lot of cheap guys and not necessarily a lot of bigger guys. So my opponent playing out the very early blocker, or not blocker, defender, with shield 2 and coming out on the battlefield just as a 5 toughness guy. It was really hard for me to break through that, especially because I had a good angle to swing in with one of my Hextech enforcers with a cleave, but he had the discipline to blow me out there. I think if I had been able to stabilize at that point and get the Shin off the field, I would have had a much better shot. But my Sun Disc aggro deck just really wasn't going to get there around the guy with a 5 might just sitting on the board. I really had to invest a lot to try to get anything out of him, investing a removal spell and then trading something most often would have been my ways of getting out. Round 2, I went up against another Jinx. He was running red, purple, and yellow, and he got a baited hook that he was trying to run. I think it was his first time playing with hook, so he messed up a couple sequencing things and kind of got outvalued throughout the game. The third opponent was a Volibear, who was running a whole bunch of ramp and a whole bunch of big guys. And my aggro plan worked out very nicely against him. Just kind of rushed him down, got to the end of the game quick enough, and then was able to kind of use Darius, or I think it was a Watcher in that game, where I used up too many resources swinging into my little guys that I had advantage on board, and then I was able to Watcher him out. The final opponent, kind of similar to how I lost the first game, they were on Misfortune. They got down a guy with 6 might, and then were able to Misfortune gank it around a bunch. And they were playing Ride the Winds and stuff like that to move their guy around and with ganking. And pretty much anytime I tried to KO his guys in combat with either Darius or cleaves or removal spells, they would just move it around the battlefield, making it really hard for me to KO his guy. And then he racked up a bunch of points through capturing on the other side and then ganking back, and it didn't work out very well for me. So I ended up on 2 and 2. I was pretty happy with the deck. The Jinx pulling this one means I'm definitely going to, at some point in the near future, build out the Jinx deck. And then we'll see what the rest of the cards in the box get me in trades. So that was that. I also was able to record my box opening, so I will probably include that footage at the end of the video to give you guys something to just watch, and I'll just put some lo-fi or something like that in the background, just some content at the end of the video. But that was where the event, for the most part, went for me. I did do one on-demand event, did a 4-player free-for-all, which ended kind of abruptly because we randomly got 2 of the arena's greatest. So we only had to get 6 points total to get the game to a finishing point, and there were 3 of us playing blue-yellow decks. I was playing Lux, and my buddy was playing Victor, and then one of our other opponents was playing Victor. So there was just a ton of guys on the board, and it was kind of a race to see who could get to their Grand Stratagem first. And I was not the one who got to Grand Stratagem first. So I didn't end up winning that one, but I got my tickets to get a couple extra packs at the end of the event, and it was overall pretty good. I will also cut in here the footage I have from when I came up the escalator. The presentation at the event was really well done, and I was actually quite pleased with the event in general. Like, just, it was well run. I've been to a couple Magic events or even a One Piece event or 2, and this felt much more organized than some of those other events. I think being the day 2 and they learned a lot, because I think day 1 I heard from people who were there that it was a lot more chaotic. There was a lot more lines to deal with. So I think that they really refined their process for the second day, and it ended up really, really good. So overall, I had a really good experience, and I can't wait for them to come back to Houston again. We'll see how the results go up. As I'm recording this, the event still hasn't gotten to its top 8, so I don't know what decks were doing the best. I know I saw some spicy decks that were close to undefeated, so there'll be some fun people getting the metal cards. That was probably my biggest complaint about the event, was the prize wall had metal cards on it, but they didn't say how many it was going to be in any of the preliminary information, and it turns out they were only doing 10 metal cards a day for Friday and Saturday, and then 15 on the last day. And that metal card was one of the things I was really hoping to get with prize tickets. But it wasn't meant to be, because they were only doing 10. So today, even when I was lining up, there were people who were working through the premium line who got those premium tickets, and they had all gathered up their prize wall tickets from the prior day, and they were rushing in there. And I'm pretty sure all of the metal cards from the event for today were sold out even before I got in the room, which is a little unfortunate. I was really have hoped that they would have done more of those metal cards, so that the players who are just going to grind the prize wall would have had a chance to get them, because I 100% would have done more side events to grind up to get a metal card if it was available. I would have picked out Lux, which is actually a pretty reasonable transition into the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is my Nexus night that I went to. So on Thursday night, I went to one of the locals for the Nexus night. I brought Lux, but I brought a different list than I had before. I brought a hook variant of Lux. And I'm not showing you guys the list here because I generally didn't work very well. I do think that there is maybe something there, but it felt very inconsistent and very fragile when I was there, because people were coming in from out of town for the Houston regionals. There was a little bit more spice there. I faced multiple Kaisas during the night, and it was real rough to be running a really untuned deck into people who were better prepared than average. My overall opinion on baited hook in Lux is probably just play Victor if you want to do it. I think it's probably pretty viable in Victor, but for Lux, I found that the mix of the 5-cost spells that I wanted to play to trigger Lux's ability just didn't really mesh well enough with the hook things. And there were times where I would draw the right cards for hook, but either wouldn't draw a hook or would just kind of play an anemic-ish list because I would draw into all my 5-cost spells at the wrong time. I whiffed at least one hook activation because I hit all big spells. And then there were other games where I drew all the big spells, and then because I was running some of the hook specific things that wanted me to use up my runes some more, I wasn't able to really leverage the 5-cost spells. So I think that for Lux, you probably want to pick one angle or the other, or really trim down on your expensive spells and lean into hook even more. But I think by the time you've done that, you're probably miles better just playing Victor for the same thing, because you at least can get units out constantly with his leader ability. So that is my kind of Nexus Night tournament report. For the next week, I think I'm going to try to put together a Jinx deck. I did do some trades for a couple other cards, and I think I'm pretty close to a reasonable list for Jinx. Maybe if I can find some Sun Discs, I will try to play those as well. But I think I'm pretty close otherwise to having the list I want for Jinx. So I'll probably try to play that at my next Nexus Night, if I can get those final trades. And then I guess that'll wrap up the video for the most part. I will be posting the winner of last week's giveaway, which is for that Alt-Art Yasuo. I'll be posting that in my community notes. So make sure you pay attention tomorrow for that. That'll go up on Monday when I do my announcements for my 1K subscriber videos. I'll do all 3 giveaways all at the same time. So pay attention there in case I at you on those community notes. But to finally wrap up the video, I will go ahead and put a speed or a fast forward through my box opening for those who aren't able to find product. Hopefully you guys can enjoy the pack opening process. And I'll just put some lo-fi behind it and go ahead and sign off now, and you guys can watch that footage, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks. Bye.